こんにちは。ボンボットファミリーと私たちのライブ放送へようこそ。私たちはあなたの視聴とリスニングの喜びのための素晴らしいショーを持っています。今あなたのホストスコッティ・ジェイロとジェリー・ケーブルにステイ・ボンバードを楽しんで覚えておいてください。
Locked out. Even I can't get past the security.
You know, might go off, or I don't know, what kind of practical jokes do you play?
Well, with my new chemistry set, thanks to Brie Larson, I do like to make stink bombs.
Here's that rainy day they told me about, and I laughed at the thought.
Hold on. I've been away for 7 months. Now they're out filming the Book of Boba. Ooh, fight scenes, makeup. The one thing I've really missed is this hidden gem. Here in my hometown, Rotorua. The Polynesian spa. Come on, New Zealand, try something new. There are no words.
Welcome to the Bombad Cast.
How exhilarating. The search for Fuzzball still continues here at the Bombad Cast / Kyle Katarn. My God, we're here Thursday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you, everyone, for joining. My name is Scotty Jarrow. Super excited to have all of you here. I am, of course, very lucky, had a good Christmas. Hope everyone had a good holiday season as well, as it's coming to a close in the next couple of days. But with all that being said, welcome to the Bombad Cast. Here, we're still looking for Fuzzball. We saw him, we met him, but we still need some more. This is every Thursday. You can have a good time with us. My co-host Jerry is not here this evening with okay, I'm gonna get too much detail. I'm not gonna do that. He just couldn't make it tonight, and that's okay. But here with me, and of course, look at these wonderful people in the chat. I love it. Femboy Fuzzball. I don't quite know what that means. Happy holidays, everyone. WizNerd, glad to have you here. Let's bring in my my co-host for the evening tonight. Longtime friend of the show. If it wasn't for the Bombad Cast, we wouldn't have this person here. He happened to find our first episode 6 years ago, very soon, just on his feed. That's the one and only, and a good friend of ours, collaborator, Michael McCoy, the Munificent.
That's right. Happy to be here, Scotty. Happy to be talking about Skeleton Crew, and even more happy to be eating this Christmas fudge.
Homemade?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. How you feeling? Feeling good?
Better now that I'm eating this fudge.
This fudge, baby. Michael, before we bring in our next guest, tell everyone more about yourself and what you got going on with your page on YouTube there.
Yeah, if you don't know me, I am All Remaining Systems on YouTube. I am formerly Local First Order on Twitter. Now I don't really use Twitter anymore. Now I'm ARS Michael on Blue Sky. I do a Star Wars tabletop RPG series called Ionized Bastards, featuring Jerry and Alden from Octo Radio, as well as Jared from Nerd Academy, where we all play our Star Wars tabletop RPG. Season 3 of that should be coming next month, which is very exciting. And I also write Star Wars fanfic. I've got a whole anthology called Heart of the Jedi and a follow-up to it called Elegy of Malevolence. That's a work in progress, so you can check that out either on my YouTube page or you can find my Archive of Our Own page where you can read it.
Beautiful. Michael, looking forward to more stories coming your way. Season 3 Ionized Bastards starting soon, I'd imagine.
Next month is the plan.
Beautiful. Maybe we can have a guest. This next person coming on as well. Good friend of us. We all hung out at Star Wars Celebration 2022 in Anaheim, California. The last time he was on the Bombad Cast was covering Kenobi, which was a long time ago now that I think about it. Man, about almost a year and a half ago. This is one of our good friends of the show, the one, the only, Kyle Katarn, on his own channel too.
Hello there.
Yes, Kyle. How you doing, buddy?
Going, guys?
What did Santa Claus bring you?
Santa Claus brought me a hoodie that was a little too small.
Oh,
I'm gonna
hang it.
No. I'm talking to the elves. We're sorting it out.
Okay, good.
But it was a good Christmas. I had a nice, cozy, like low key,
easy.
Exactly.
Not
more my speed these days.
That's good. I had to go to 4 different ones. I had Christmas Eve, 2 on Christmas Eve, and 2 on Christmas Day. Wife with separated parents, me with separated parents. It's just those things aren't fun. But the good thing I will say, the icing on the cake or the Christmas fudge,
now you've got
was the fact that we got Skeleton Crew on Christmas Eve. How did everyone feel about that? Did y'all like that? That was kind of weird. I liked it. Did you watch it when it dropped, Michael, or no? Did you give it
because I'm living on my own now, I was able to watch it when it dropped. I didn't have to worry about family stuff. I had no one dragging me to church or anything like that. I could just sit down and go to church, to my church, which is Star Wars.
Yes, the church of the crew.
But no, I really enjoyed it. I've been absolutely loving the show, and we're on a hot streak of just great episodes. So,
Kyle, what would you do? Did you catch it like as it dropped too?
Pretty much as it dropped. Yeah, I was doing like family Christmas Eve stuff earlier in the day, and then I just sort of remembered. Wait a second, I have my own car. I can escape, and I just made it back. Just in time for the hype chamber. Got in the episode, and I can't agree more. Like, I've been really enjoying Skeleton Crew. It's very refreshing that it's hitting all the right nostalgia notes for me personally. Even though it's a predominantly child cast, I feel particularly catered to, and that's kind of a weird thing to reconcile about yourself. But at the same time, really enjoying the show.
The emotions are all so raw, and I think for us as viewers, for some reason, it does bring out the kid wonder in us. And there was one scene in particular that I have to start this whole conversation off with. I saw it about 40 minutes after it dropped. So the whole episode's like right around 40 minutes. So I'm so glad this wasn't spoiled for me. If y'all haven't seen it yet, everyone in the chat, everyone hanging out, please don't spoil yourselves. But this was my biggest moment. And it wasn't a big story beat. It wasn't. But Michael knows how I am. Nothing.
Yes.
Nothing could make me happy.
I was cackling.
This is just everything I've ever wanted. Ever. I just
mutants being dudes.
It's almost cut off of the picture, but they also managed to put a towel on an Athorian up there, and I think that's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive.
How does that work? Yeah, no, it's the one that's chilling. Just the one that's just Jay chilling right there, man. God, he's so cool.
Because he's man spreading under the water for sure.
Oh, 100%. But there's something to be said about the fact that he wears a towel on his head, and the other ones in the back do too, and
it's to hide his Sith lightsaber.
Could you imagine?
That's where he keeps it. You can't get it wet,
I don't know. There's something so funny about the pirate idea of oh no, this is where they threw the bodies, so we couldn't find the evidence that they were there, and now nothing but a bunch of scumbags use it as a place, a resort now, and they're eating people.
They've developed the dumping ground. It feels like a Sopranos plot that they could have used,
A little bit, yeah.
They built a new casino in a dumping ground.
This to me though was just peak, man. Star Wars has been for me on the up and up ever since The Force Awakens. It just with every show it gets a little bit better. They do a couple of things different, but this was not on my bingo card. And I okay, the implications of this before we even get the canon implications of this is that the banking clan still holds some power this many years later. that is insane.
Well, I mean, galactic commerce didn't just go away.
Exactly.
Someone's still got to be holding those reins no matter what. Like the Senate got dissolved, we know that, but like in terms of like the private sector and all the financial stuff, yeah, still going strong. And it's still
I'm pretty sure it is canon to some extent that the empire did significantly diminish the banking clan's influence. I want to say that's something that's in. Actually, I think I got the whole right.
Oh, here we go.
I think that's mentioned somewhere here in Rise and Fall of the Galactic Empire. But yeah, to see that they're still holding power and engaging still in all this stuff in the New Republic era is so great. In spite of it all, capitalism perseveres.
Yes, no matter what, empires will fall and rise again, and we still got these assholes bathing in a mud bath.
And
in a way, that's kind of one of the only through lines that Skeleton Crew has to the larger Star Wars fabric. In that, like, we see it in Andor, we see it again here, we saw it in The Mandalorian. The people of means just sort of living their lives comfortably, regardless of the galactic circumstances. Like we've got guys just chilling on Canto Bight, never worked a day in his life.
Oh, yeah,
I was gonna say
the people that are hanging off of the defecting engineer in The Mandalorian before he gives his little TED talk about eugenics. That whole thing was, but they were like, "You're so brave, it's so wonderful." Like I could never, like joking about being drafted and stuff. It's like the rich are never affected. Like, never. We always get to see these little pockets of culture of just like privileged people that don't have to worry about the
Canto Bight. You saw how they play both sides. They profiteer off of it all. The credits flow no matter who's on top.
Exactly.
Money talks, man. And like this is such off the radar stuff for me. And I mean, I'll just say it to everyone watching, like Plagueis is like one of my favorite Sith. And I did a whole video essay about Plagueis and his influence. And I've always loved the Munes. And people are like, I don't like their design. It's a stupid take. The design is so weird and alien and, George Lucas-y. And we had not seen him except for Acolyte, that species. And then of course
we got some
they turn up in. Yeah, and then this turns up like, okay, no, they're willing to bring in this weird stuff that we haven't seen on screen since essentially Attack of the Clones, which is amazing. Like, and they're there for what do they call it, a summit?
They're there for like a corporate field trip.
Yes,
it's like a corporately sponsored like spa day kind of thing.
Oh, beautiful!
Which is hysterical to me. That might be my favorite aspect of the banking clan's involvement in the whole episode is that this is what they're doing. Like, my uncle is a homicide detective. His entire police department was sent off on a thing, on like a party thing. They're like wearing business suits at Disneyland, like riding like the teacups ride, bunch big. They do this sort of stuff. Like it's hilarious, just the visual of it. I'm sure it's
especially funny with the Munes.
So funny looking.
It's especially funny with the Munes because, especially Scotty, you and I are huge fans of the Darth Plagueis novel. They just hate the fucking formalities of shit like this. Like when Plagueis goes on like a whole rant about how he hates like eating meals because it's just like such a ridiculous thing to have to do to conduct business. So these guys, half of them are just like, God, fuck, can we just get back to the conference call so that we can sign this bullshit?
It's just so real, man. I love that, Michael. And Kyle, I agree.
None of them are smiling either, I know.
No. And they literally, you hear them talk and put the subtitles on. And the subtitles are something along the lines of like, we haven't seen no kid. What are y'all asking about? Who are you? And I just love they're being pestered. Anyway, I'm glad we spent 10 minutes talking about it because I thought it was this is super important. This validates, because we're all prequel kids here. This kind of does a little bit of validation, if I'm going to be real with you. And then, of course, like, we can finally say they're blending all these things together, and they have been since The Mandalorian. But like this, oh my God, like a new Hutt. We know all the news with what's his face playing Rada possibly in Mandalorian and Grogu movie, and like we just got more Hutts. The twins. We got this guy now with this weird tattoo in his face. And
that tattoo. He might be our first on-screen non-Desjalic clan Hutt.
There we go. Exactly. See,
might be a whole new Hutt family that we're seeing on this tattoo.
Oh, how cool is that? Look at that. And he was like trying to eat the little guy. And did you hear the dialogue? He goes, "No, not again."
Does that mean not again with that specific Hutt or with the Hutts in general?
Yeah, it's not the first creature to eat him. Go back to the photo for a second. It's not lost on me that like it's a floating plate of food.
Yes.
But he's still puppeteered to be holding it above his head with both hands, like struggling and then he lets go of it, and it's just floating there. It's like, what were you even doing, dude?
I just love at your service. There's a little bit of a C-3PO feeling there. Oh man,
Oh,
I
yeah.
just love it. No, that's totally a tattoo under his chin right there. You're right.
Yeah,
You can see
yeah.
it. It looks a little bit like the maybe my eyes are deceiving me, but it looks a little bit like the mythosaur kind of. I don't know. There would be no way. But
Do you
just
think that this is actually the armorer under the helmet?
oh my god, that's
just
the
crack the
under
code?
the helmet armor.
I mean, it's better than that theory that it was Satine, but not.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
No, this is the other creature too. Tethalops. Tethalo? I don't know how they said it. You can barely see him just because the image is super dark. But like, in the trailer, I thought this was some big monster that was going to smash him and give him a hell of a time. But no, this guy.
I will
story.
claim
one of
my
the
credit
boys.
here. I will claim my credit here. In my trailer reaction, when we first saw him, I was like, "Oh, he's got a cute mustache. Nah, he's going to be a helpful creature." Like, I saw the brief shadow outline of a mustache, and I was like, "Nah, he's cute. He's a cute guy."
He was great.
Little whiskers.
I just love the second Jod walks up, he's like, I wouldn't trust him. Like, how does this dude already know, man?
Literally smells it on him.
Yeah, on him. Yeah. So I guess we should break it down the whole thing. Okay. This kind of brings us back with this episode, the very beginning, before we even get the title card, which I thought was really cool. We got the parent story, right? And Wendell, having to make a decision to plug that thing into the computer. And I don't know. I thought that was a pretty
being really
moment.
shitty at hiding it.
Yes, I was going to say.
Well, apparently, like, security's kind of like, you don't need to be that good at hiding it. If you can access this mainframe from your workstation as like whatever the hell he does for a living, like, why is it so centrally? There should be like a terminal that's guarded where you can do this from. It's just out in the open. You plug in anywhere.
Exactly. And he plugged it right in, and they noticed a energy pulse or something.
Energy surge. That's what he said.
Yeah. And I just think it's so wild. Like, they noticed it. And of course, his boss, which I love this whole show, the whole idea of like a boss on top of a boss and who's really in charge. How do I get in touch with the supervisor? Where his boss is Fern's mom. And so like
a little bit of benevolent corruption, and we're back in the game.
Exactly. Right. But yeah, I didn't realize Farah was Wendell's superior there. I had no idea. That was a cool little twist.
I knew she had some kind of rank. She said she was the undersecretary of the department of the super when she talked to the kids. So I figured she's like some sort of admin. So
the hell does that mean?
They're like in the same little bullpen together.
And just like Fern, she's good at wiping the droid's memory and doing what she needs to with it.
And that makes me think. Oh no, what you want to say, Kyle?
I was just right before the energy surge happened, the way Wendell looks up at the droid and the droid just so funny. The puppeteering of these droids has been fantastic.
Oh, it's so
all of the physicality has been really entertaining to watch.
There was one scene in the third episode. Me and my wife were watching it this morning because she's not caught up. There's a part where he's like, calm down, talking to the parents, and it really made me laugh that time. Calm down, everyone. Calm down.
My favorites were always in like with Hu Yang and Ahsoka. When he's like laying under the dashboard, like fixing something up there. He's so clearly been just like placed there. But it looks like he climbed down and like got under there and stuff. Like it's so funny the way they lean into those kinds of illusions with puppetry.
Oh,
and the arms thing was really funny. I remember that.
And then like it's the duality is great because then you've got someone like SM33 who's like super like really perfectly articulated, but the other robots are
very
terrible looking. Yes. I thought that was a great way to kick off this episode because it's really important to keep establishing these people are worried too. I'm thinking really in the next week or so we're gonna get a pretty big chunk of an episode dedicated towards them. You know what I mean? The parents. I mean, yeah. I think it's what it's driving to, because it's been like 3-minute snippets here and there, and then I think we're going to
definitely building towards like another classic 80s trope of like the parents don't appreciate the kids, and then they learn to appreciate them once they're missing. Yeah. And then like Chunk gets rescued, and his parents are like, "You can have pizza for dinner every night now." Like it's going to be that whole arc, like just like in the Goonies and everything else.
Bubble baths for Neil forever. You
Right.
can take bubble baths all you want, buddy.
But Neil's gonna be like, no, Mom, I'm grown up now. I don't do bubble baths.
A girl
I'm a
kissed
pirate.
me. I'm a pirate, man.
I'm a pirate, and a French resistance fighter kissed me on another planet.
Yeah, look, I love that this whole idea of Neil kind of saving the day last episode, and in its own way, Michael's cat's hanging out.
Yeah, he's got his ball stuck. I gotta go help him.
Oh, help his ball. Well, I wish we had a droid that could do that for us. No,
the Galaxy's Edge droids. I could use mine to play with. I should do that more often. Actually, she hates that thing though.
Yeah, which one do you have? Do you have the BB-8 one or the?
I have a C series little chopper.
Oh, nice.
She's not a fan.
No. I used to have that Sphero BB-8. Remember when?
I remember those.
Oh, those were
I got mine right here.
It doesn't. Mine doesn't work anymore, and that thing was so much fun to chase the cats around with. God, that was a blast. Yeah, that's fun. No, I speaking of droids, I love that the whole idea of SM-33 like getting turned off, waking back on the ship, and of course they're all really worried, right? And it's understandably so that they're so worried. But the part where they're questioning him, and they're like, okay, I forgot the exact exchange of dialogue, but when he pops up and he rips all the rope they tied down, one of the best comedic beats of the whole episode. They did nothing. Yes, nothing.
Yeah.
You just pop right up.
It's such kid logic too. They're like, just tie him up with some ropes and you're good. But like the fact that Jod is right there among them as one of the kids, like he matches their energy consistently. Like he's so not a grown up in the situation. He's just like another one of them, basically.
Yeah,
he thought it was going to be effective too. He didn't know any better.
He's just as scared. I mean, understandably so. When the I moment happened in like the third episode, like it was that's a scary droid. When he went postal on him the other day, that was crazy. That was intense with the voice getting lowered and stuff. Yeah, no, every kid had every right to be scared, and I mean that would be in real life that'd be terrifying. If this
I love that super tight fisheye angle they put on him too when he was like going ballistic. You're like, oh, wait, what's happening here?
Yes. Remember, it reminded me of that scene from The Hangover. Whenever they in that scene, I forget. It's I don't know exactly which part of the movie, but you see it from their perspective, and it's like all the stuff going on around them, and the camera's just moving in on them like this. Oh yeah, that was.
I don't know if you're familiar with Mitchell and Webb look, but it made me think of Sir Digby Chicken Caesar.
Sir Digby Chicken. What is this? You're speaking French. I love this.
It's the Chronicles of a Homeless Man.
The
camera is mounted on him like this too, and he's just like running around doing crazy things.
Well, now we have to watch this together.
Mitchell and Webb look. Anyone in the comments who knows this knows what I'm talking about. Well, but that camera angle is just forever. That's what I think of now. Every time.
And look, one thing too with all this, I love that in that moment we then find out that Captain Renaud was the pirate that had the Onyx Cinder. And I was wondering because the Lego box had leaked this like in I think it was like June or July. Like Onyx
it feels like forever ago.
It was a long time ago. So like we've all kind of sat with this name, you know,
waiting for it to come up.
Yeah,
and it always felt ill-fitting given that they're all a bunch of kids flying around this ship. Which, it's kind of the point.
But it being like some legendary like Black Pearl type ship, like it's a suitable name. And now we've got the lore, we can appreciate it more too.
Yes, and I think it's cool that no one at the Pirate Cove or wherever they were at, you know, and anyone's ever recognized it because I guess they haven't seen it in thousands of years. So I don't know. I think it's a cool idea that they've been in this legendary ship the whole time, and like SM-33 in his own way is a legendary droid. He has all these stories stored in his data bank. If it wasn't for KB, they wouldn't tap into it, right?
And
I was thinking that too. He is kind of a perfect babysitter droid because you just sit him down and he tells pirate stories to the kids, and they're just captivated because of the way he talks.
But I love what you said, Scotty, about the legendary ship kind of going unrecognized because it is very reminiscent of like the Force Awakens, the fucking Falcon just sitting in a junkyard, and they're just like, "Oh, that ship's garbage. No one knows the legendary ship that made the Kessel Run or anything like that." You know,
that's great.
I mean, that's another thing about like the 80s tropes of like knowing your history too. You know, it's nondescript and like it's usually meaningless junk, but like the one guy who knows the ghost story or knows about like the old pirate's tale knows why it's significant.
Oh, well, like that scene in Goonies. There's that one scene where it's like, that's One-Eye Willie's ship. And he's talking to the skull of One-Eye Willie, and there's the eye patch. And you're like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Right, because the painting was gathering dust in an attic because people who didn't know the history of it thought it was just junk.
Yep.
That's why the
Damn you,
ship flies
Corey
under the radar.
Feldman.
Has it been
Corey
thousands
Feldman.
of years? I thought it was like centuries.
That's the thing.
The timeline's so vague, and I
It's
feel
so
like
vague.
when we learn more about Atten, we'll learn more about what happened with Renid, because it's
There
very
were
suspicious that
full-size
we
trees
don't
grown on
see
top of that
him.
crash ship.
We don't see him in the hologram, and
Mhm.
that's kind of suspicious to me. I don't know what's going on with.
I think they're what we do see in the hologram is his hands, and they're most certainly not human.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I think he is the same species as Neil.
whoa! I like this. Why is that?
Well, because he's got the weird blue elephant stump hands in the hologram, but also there's a big golden elephant statue in the treasure pile that's also very clearly like an adult male of Neil's species. With like,
Oh, okay, I did see that.
There's several elephanty type things around, and then the face is obscured, but we see these big blue bulbous hands, and I'm thinking like Neil's species might be that captain might have then gone on to become the supervisor, and he didn't actually die.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's elephant there was a headless statue on the other planet. Could totally be like a Neil's, like that species head could totally be what's missing there, you know.
Okay, hold on now. I'm getting it pulled up. We got I'm making sure
and focus on the hands. They're very blue in color, and it's not just a hologram.
I'm not gonna try to play too much of it just for the sake of
Also,
getting taken.
Ferns, what's a concubine?
I died.
That was the best. So no audio. Okay. Oh man,
this is gonna be hard to get a free because it glitched so fast.
Yeah, I wonder if it
you got to
doesn't
get
let
this on
you.
Laserdisc and go scan forward and back.
Yeah,
is this out on Laserdisc yet? Have we got that physical media going?
I'm telling you, they're going to put this out on VHS, and I'm going to be the first one to buy it. I'll spend whatever
straight away. I like that VHS is kind of coming back, like in a niche, like novelty way. It's like it's not
yes,
like Romulus. They put out Romulus on VHS.
Oh,
yes.
That's awesome. Oh,
you can buy Godzilla -1 on Romulus as well. Oh, Romulus, look at me on VHS.
Godzilla -1 on Romulus.
I only watch my movies on Romulus now.
Wait, I'm so curious. I had not made that connection yet because I did love how the scene was portrayed. Okay, here we go.
Also, how dope is it to have your hologram project into your throne, your skull throne?
Yeah, right? That's cool.
That's how you read your diary? Hell yeah.
I wonder. Yeah, look
at that,
it is.
Look at that hand.
Oh,
it's bulbous and very blue, and it looks like Neil's hand. And it's the only distinguishing like feature we have on it. And I don't think it's a glove or anything.
No.
And if you look at how much of his face has been obscured, there's a section like where his like upper chest neck should be that's also obscured that would be hiding the trunk.
Okay, yeah.
So, like, kind of a trunk-shaped hole missing for the head, and then we got this like elephant-like hand.
Okay, now Kyle, for the sake of playing devil's advocate, what if you aren't entirely correct on this assumption that he is part of Neil's species? What else would you like to see from this?
Well, okay, so I have a backup theory.
Okay,
because I had a theory about it before I noticed that, and then suddenly I went on this elephant path. But I thought, what if it's a weak way? And I'm basing that on the skull having horns on the chin. The giant
I saw that too.
A weak way skull throne. And that made me think Hondo. And then I dispelled that thought because I don't want to get myself excited and then get disappointed. But if it's not an elephant, it could be a weak way. I just God himself, and he's just really old.
Okay, here's the shot that you're referring to, by the way. That just showed it for 1 split second. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. Look at that. That is definitely a grown-up member of Neil's species.
100%. You can tell.
Friggin' jacked like that one Korean Jesus, you know? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yes. Wow. You could tell. Yeah, that's a good point. We'll come back to this footage in a little bit. We got to look at more Mune stuff.
Why else would you have such a specific statue?
I know.
Of a seemingly obscure species that is only populating the planets. Like, we haven't seen one outside. Not to say they're not out there, but we, the audience, have never seen one before. So suddenly there's also one in this treasure trove.
Yeah.
Big coincidence, if so.
And I think there probably is some sort of tie, at least, to Renid and the supervisor. Again, we as Star Wars fans do tend to overthink absolutely everything. See every previous season of Star Wars television. for examples of this, but
if there's two things we do well, it's waiting in lines and overthinking the hell out of minor details.
Damn right.
Waiting in lines.
Yeah, just because with Rened, wiping the coordinates from his map and like that one specifically, I think there's more to. I think he has some ties to the supervisor. I don't think he is the supervisor, but I think there's something to that story because there is a lot of mystery.
There's a connection.
Yeah,
he was after the mint, which that's a big revelation. It's a mint. We kind of felt it was going that way, knowing that like everyone had a job to do with money,
yeah,
and that it's like all the layers of security. Like I should have put that together straight away, honestly.
So like that's my thing too. In terms, your cat's going crazy, Michael. In terms of a mint,
he wants to be held.
I don't understand. I would want to be held by you too. A mint, obviously, for those that don't know, is a place that manufactures and makes money. But I love the kid idea of like we can just have money forever, like
how it works. Money. Yeah.
That's how pirates think too, because they don't know anything about crashing economies.
And I just thought it was a cool concept. And like, okay, so let's get to the debate real quick then. So Kyle, you're under the assumption that it's not Old Republic, or are you thinking it's, the early, I guess you could say, Galactic Republic?
I think it is the Republic that is older than the prequel Republic.
Okay, so not quite high, older than High Republic, or somewhere in the.
Yeah, it goes Old Republic, High Republic, Prequel Republic, Empire, etc.
Yeah, Galactic Republic, then Galactic Empire.
I mean, like for the sake of terminology, I would refer to the Prequel Republic as the Republic.
Okay.
Because then we've got an old and a new on either side, bookending them in the timeline. So the Prequel Republic is just the
mid-Republic.
Yeah. Well, sure. But I think that they are Old Republic credits, not from the Prequel Republic.
Yes, I agree. So they are obviously stuck in this time. And okay, that's evident because they didn't know any of the things that happened with Alderaan, though they had heard of it, which I think is really interesting too. The mystery of the show has been an absolute delight. Acolyte was great. I love the mystery in Acolyte, but this has been so much more exciting seeing it from a kid's point of view as well.
Yes.
And like them solving these problems, and even Jod not quite understanding the full context of all this too is great.
He has like the perfect level of Arrested Development to like get along with these kids on their level.
Yes.
He's so not the adult in the room in so many of the scenarios. And it's fantastic to watch.
And he understands. Well, he understands too that they are so important and they both need each other in this way. We're like, the whole what do they call them? The wise elders?
Yes.
That whole beat
that
was amazing.
Felt so Rebels to me with them out
coming down on the damn cargo lift like a bunch of Jawas too. Like, what did that add? What were they thinking? Also, when they were getting arrested, the cops were like, "Wise elders, step away from this man." Like they're about to skate, and they're like, "We're not elders, we're children." And he's like, "Oh, well, then you're under arrest too." It's like they talked themselves into that one. Like, these cops were still buying it. They're just like, "Wise elders, you're not safe around this man. Let's arrest him for you."
Yeah, that was to me. I've enjoyed how much you can get away with in that way. Like Michael said, Rebels is probably the best way to put it. Like the rebel, it's just the rebels of it all. Like we can put on these clothes and pretend, and they're going. Oh, I just love the language they made up. It was so beautiful.
Yes. Doesn't it feel like something Ezra and Zeb would be doing? Like,
oh yes.
I mean, they were like 2 steps below the ridiculousness of like Kenobi hiding Leia in his coat.
Yes.
Walking out the front door of the base, the underwater base.
God, it's good. It's excellent. And
Johnson.
And I love the idea that there's like a concierge and she's like showing them through the resort, giving everyone drinks. And, I think it's pretty cool to see this in Star Wars. And I know Canto Bight had some of these feels and other parts of the universe have had these kind of feels and experiences, but to see it like from the kid perspective of like, these are like the kids that go to the resort and they don't know they're at a resort and they're like getting handed the lays and they're putting everything on. They're being treated this way. And my favorite part, and I'm sure if we've all been to a hotel or that whole situation of having to talk to the receptionist and all that, and how awkward some of those things can be, and like the fact that he's like just throwing credits in her face, like putting it down. Yes, we have reservations.
I love what a show she made of like putting it into sleeve and like the light bouncing it onto her face. Like it's so not subtle.
It was the way funnier version of them doing the coaxium handoff in Solo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Julianne Emery, by the way. I love that actress. I'm glad that she's finally in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
She was Betsy Kettleman in Better Call Saul.
Yeah, it took me a while to realize she was one of the Kettlemans.
She was in the first episode of The Rookie too. She was like,
oh wow,
she's like a bit part in that.
Yeah,
really, really funny that like she like knew exactly what was going on too. She's like, yeah, I'll make this money on the sly. She's like saw through it the entire time. Like, oh yeah, and the wise elders, they're like obviously children. They're like doing a little dance in the background.
You know how much money they made too? That was so much money for them just to go into that hotel room, jump on the bed, and then leave.
And those weren't even just they're like Old Republic credits, like vintage. Each one's worth 1,000 credits kind of deal. Like
just pass them away. And like I don't know. I've always wanted to see what a spa would look like in this perspective, because for those that have never like seen a hot spring or been around a hot spring before, like it is a lot of that. It is a lot of just chilling and hanging out, and you know, yes, towels on heads. And I mean, in Japan, we'll be doing that. Of course, Kyle and I will be right at the onsens, just chilling. Right,
we'll do a special towel head podcast from inside a sauna. Just
that's right. Well, this is it.
Yeah,
this is it right
we'll
here.
Just be the moons. Welcome back to That's No Moon. Let me grab a towel here. And,
I just know they're complaining, and that's just a beautiful thing to be like in this luxurious place and complaining. There's something kind of elegant to that.
My drink has a space fly in it. I demand a new one.
I just know this planet was really cool for this show. And of course, when they get there and they're freaking out, the bounty's been called on them. Oh, Pocket was great. Hold the phone.
Fantastic. Pocket was a baddie.
Yeah.
What's your read on Pocket species, you guys?
Umbaran.
You're thinking Umbaran? I was leaning towards Arcanian.
Now I gotta look at it side by side.
I'm into her either way, so
Umbaran is that's pretty solid though. I
can see it.
I was getting kind of slime more
DM, you've got a good encyclopedia of the species. Yeah, the eyes was kind of a new detail. And Arcanians generally have like subtle face markings that she didn't have. Yeah. Not impossible though.
Okay, I got some images pulled up right now. I'm going to show the audience that's hanging out with us tonight. There's the uncle, Neil's uncle. Okay, here we go. Yeah, the Umbaran right here. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, she's got a little slime more in the eyes. I see that.
Yeah. Oh, definitely the eyes. I didn't think about Slimemore's eyes.
That's an Umbaran for sure.
Slimore, also the mother of Triclops in Legends.
Good to know. Look at that. Yeah, this is seeming more like it right here. Yeah, Pocket was a babe. Let's all be real for a second. Pocket was a total babe. That was a great moment.
I like the retcon that the Umbarans have a Scottish accent after because in the Umbaran arc in the Clone Wars, we only ever hear like inside their helmets. So like they could be speaking anything.
Yeah, that's true.
They're just a bunch of angry Scotsmen muffled in their like breathing helmets during that war.
In Fallen Stars audiobook, Mark Thompson goes very like Eastern European for Orla Jareni. He's like, I'm Orla Jareni.
Okay, we go. All right, this next one, the Arcanians. Okay, there's something there too. All white eyes, man.
The Umbaran eyes tie it for me. I think Umbarans is the way to go.
Yeah,
that's right. I forgot Dagan Gera was an Arcanian.
Did we confirm that was his species? I didn't know we ever got confirmation on it.
Well,
I would say ask Cody Fern, but I don't think he cares.
Fair.
One thing is for certain with this, and I like that these episodes have been doing this. The most recent one didn't really pick up exactly where the other one left off, but this one's gonna have to pick up where the other one left off. Like it's gonna have to,
unless the entire episode is on Atten following the parents.
Then that would be pretty sick too. But I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure Jude Law at some point, Michael Caduceus is going nuts, fam.
Dude, he's a talker. He wants to be involved and talk about.
He's
the
fourth host tonight, clearly.
No, I was gonna say with this episode, I know there's a couple of scenes from the trailer that we have yet to see out of this planet, and I don't want to give anything away. I can always pull it up, but there's just shots of X-wings coming in, and Jaleel White's character also on the planet.
Who's now probably dead.
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't think they would have gone down there. I don't think they would have sent someone who's
there were like
second
five or six damn sets of stairs leading out of that pit that they just had to back up onto, and it was above the acid line.
That's true.
There's no way they just stood there and melted. They just like were forced to retreat a little bit. If I was burning in acid, I'd be saying a lot more than Silva.
No. God, that was probably a horrible death. Even when they put SM33's foot down there, like it like burnt the whole bottom of him. Like, geez,
that must have smelled so bad, like acid burning, like rusty old metal.
Oh.
Also, shout out to the guard who got shot and then pulled up and like impaled in the ceiling. That was cool, like a repulsor spike trap.
Yes,
that was a fun version of the usual trick.
It's weird because, like, obviously, probably a great actor, probably a good character actor, probably does other gigs too. But what I wouldn't give to have that scene in a Star Wars, just like
gruesome death, and
just a death, just shot, turns around, boom, boom, shink, and you just hear it, don't see it. Beautiful.
And then you could be like the guy in Galaxy Quest. He's all like, "Oh yeah, I died in episode number 8." Remember? Work the con circuit.
Yeah, no, I love that whole like getting into it, and of course the big guy with the mustache smashing the stuff, right? I mean, that was all really exciting. And I don't know, the part that really got to me was them having to do the booby traps and them experiencing what was it like to get into the actual, where the bounty is, where all the
treasure trove.
Yeah, the treasure trove is at such. It's just so cool.
I think the entire episode was an excuse so that SM33 could say grotto. Yeah. That's the only reason we did this.
I just think it's so cool that we get to this scene already, where I was expecting that to be maybe the big scene at the end of that Atten. You know what I mean? Like I thought that was going to be like, oh shit, we made it. This is the spot. And then of course they subvert us, and the mint is the big deal, not necessarily the treasure that's there in that area, but the fact that they get there. And I love that Wim has to ask, like, are these things booby trapped too? And like, it's a really cool beat, because I never considered that. I don't think that it's actually happened. Did it ever happen in the Goonies or any of those?
Yes.
Pirates. Okay.
One-eyed Willie's were surrounded by treasure in the room, and like you can't touch any. Like that's why the ship ends up like sailing out of there, is because the Fratellis start grabbing stuff.
Yes, because it loses its weight. Oh, that's a good point. I forgot about that. It sails off. No.
And also Indiana Jones, with the idol.
Yes, exactly. Well, the idol, of course, is the pull and the thing falling. One thing, my God, we failed to mention it earlier. I have to go back and discuss this. When Wim's having his little bit of a breakdown and he's upset and he's crying, Jod, of course, has to be this Jedi figure that he wasn't expecting being. What did y'all feel about that line drop? Because I know Kyle knows and Michael knows, but like The Phantom Menace is my favorite movie of all time in terms of Star Wars stuff. Your focus determines reality was pretty heavy.
It's a pretty graceful way of confirming sort of like a bit of his background.
Yeah.
Without having to go be too on the nose about it. But I was still laughing pretty hard from his initial reaction to finding Wim crying and being like, ugh. Ugh, oh no. And then he turns around to leave. And then
because he had a couple like dad moments in the last episode, so we had to get back to him being like, oh no, I'm not cut out for this shit.
Gross. Like, ugh. And then when he hears like my mom's like, I won't see my mom again. And from behind his shoulders just fine, like comes and sits down.
I gotta do it now.
Grunging with his sympathy and support.
Look, he's always to look out for himself, and like he has to be that person that stands up for that kid. You know what I mean? Like,
because he didn't have it.
No, not at all. And Wim, he hasn't broken his spirits at all. And to see him finally when they get to like the telling of the story of the pirates, right? All those great moments, and then all of a sudden, you get to it, and he's not happy about it. It's just. Right. It's kind of brutal. You kind of think, this sweet adventure of a kid is just, he's tuckered out, man.
I mean, it's never meet your heroes of like, never live out your fantasies. Because they will not go the way they do in your imagination. They're scary, and dangerous, etc.
Yeah.
And he even gives them terrible advice too. I don't know. Like, your focus
his
determines
whole
reality.
Attachment his whole attachment debacle is even worse than how the Jedi treated it, at least for the
Which
Jedi.
I loved
with
John
good
like
intentions.
ham-fisted explanation of what attachment was. Like it was so not quite right, but he got to the right point accidentally almost.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's someone who was taught something as a young child and like misremembers it as an adult.
Yeah, so I was starting to think that Jod was never a Jedi. He was just always force sensitive. But now after this episode, I'm like, oh no, he definitely had some sort of training. Maybe more Boken Jedi than formal temple trained.
I think he was a Padawan. Maybe he got cut loose. It wouldn't be the first time a Padawan wasn't recommended to continue.
Yeah.
And he hasn't displayed any training or knowledge that you would receive after the point of Padawan either. Everything he knows is pretty elementary. So I feel like he was a beginner learner, and then either he was expelled or Order 66 happened, or maybe he was kidnapped by pirates and his master died and they raised him or something. That'd be kind of a cool backstory.
I think they said in the 7th episode, that's where we kind of get all of Jod Nanawood's like stories converge, like all the different names. And I kind of like that in this one, they're like, this is a new name. This is a new name. They have, so far, what's counted? Jod Nanawood, Silvo,
Crimson Jack.
Then
Dash Denton.
Dash
Denton. Yes. And isn't there one more?
I think there's one more.
Oh, come on. Chat's going to save the day. Chat always saves the day, chat. No, there is definitely one more. But I just love that this character already has 4 names, and obviously Jod's not a real name.
And this is probably not going to, this is mostly wishful thinking, but wouldn't it be cool if we ended up with all of those names are attached to real canon people who all come home to roost, and we have this Mexican standoff of like everyone whose names he's stolen. He's kind of in the center.
God.
We've got Crimson Jack there in his blue unitard with like the red handlebar mustache, like looking straight out of the comics. They're all pissed. That would be a great way to. That would be a great
Dash.
way to,
Dash Rendar shows up, man. That's how
Dash Rendar. It's like, you changed my name.
Kyle Katarn. No, I don't want to get any.
Yeah, that's how he gets canonized, is by identity fraud.
Could you imagine everything you've worked hard on, Kyle, and all of a sudden they bring him because he's a victim of a credit card scam?
One thing that I think this episode gave me that I was not expecting, besides Moons in towels and Huts relaxing, which was incredible, is finally I feel like I have an answer to the question of like, what would you be doing if you were in Star Wars? I'd be sitting in a bath with a towel on my head. I'd be chilling.
Easy.
Like, I love how many background aliens we get in this show specifically that have been so relatable in what they're doing.
I love the mundanity of Star Wars sometimes.
Totally.
It's just so peak, man.
Not a care in the world. They're having a great time.
You forget that this happens in a universe that's so tense all the time. Yeah. This guy. I mean, it's just beautiful.
I mean, well, again, it just speaks to like privilege, and the people who have the money for it don't have to experience the bad side of the galaxy.
And like, look, as much as I've loved Ad-Atten and seeing Ad-Atten, I would like to see an Ad-Atten 7-Eleven or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of want to see that. Yeah. Like, what is their Whole Foods look like there? Do they have to get gas in the little powered vehicles that are on
I love their rinky-dink little bumper cars. It's so like, it's a small world.
Very Epcot, very a city of the future. But the big
Toronto on this planet.
The big twist of this whole episode, the one that I genuinely was not expecting, and we all have our friends that work in the Star Wars sphere, and we have all of our people that have connections. And I was told by someone that I'm close with that this show gets very intense the last couple episodes, and this is, I think, the scene where like the intensity rose instantly. Like when John had it
broke.
Oh, man. I was so done. I was spent. I couldn't believe it. I was standing up. I'm like, there's no way he's doing this already. Like instant heel, just instant turn, dude.
Well, I think for me, it's because we saw the softness of Jod, and we know he has these like very human vulnerabilities, and to see him default to his worst aspects, I'll tell you what it fucking reminds me of. It made me feel like in the season 2 finale of Avatar when Zuko sides with Azula. Fuck, where you're just disappointed in him.
Yes. But look, you see this scene play out, and Jod obviously knows that he has an upper hand on all these kids. and he's gonna get his way, and he knows exactly how to get his way because he's gonna challenge him. And once he saw that hologram that Kyle beautifully brought up earlier, like Caduceus buddy, so excited, so talkative. No, once that hologram was brought up, he instantly was like, okay, this is it. Sorry, kids. Like, this is who I really am. Everyone's warned you, which is so brutal. The guy they just met just warned him. They're like, nah.
I mean, we've got two options here. We've got two trajectories for Jod. It's either he's been playing them from the very, very start, or he's trying to protect them and shift the target onto his own back to save these innocent children from the pirates hunting them down.
Yeah. God,
like, which would be a misguided, but like, what has he done so far that hasn't been misguided? Like, I feel like that's within character. He could be protecting them by doing this, but I feel like he could have explained that to them, which makes me think, no, he really did. That really just happened,
Yes, and look, and the other thing too is Jod. Every time we see him get in a situation, it always cuts to the kids. So, like, the best example is when he's talking to Alfred Molina's, act character in that one scene where the droids are at, and he's like, I have to turn you in, Silvo, and he's like, well, and then it cuts. So I'm like, okay, then that guy probably got axed. Or whenever they go to
because at the bottom of an elevator shaft somewhere now.
Yeah. He's gone. Like, they go to Ad Akron, and like when that group of warriors catch him, and like there's no way he paid for those EOPs. I just don't believe it. Like, I think he probably slaughtered and killed all of them too with SM-33, and like they're not saying anything, and he could probably wipe his memory too. And I know obviously Captain Fern can, but like this is something that I find super cool, that he was able to just instantly change at a time like that to these kids that trusted him. And I do want to say, Kyle, I think you're on something. I think it could be a let's shift the focus off of them, But I mean, dude,
that could follow sort of the format that we tend to go with these like short form season storytelling. Like, we build up the penultimate episode, and then we should now for something completely different for a little while, and then they return to the climax. And it could go that way. I hope they don't. I hope we get a direct continuation, because I need to know what happens next.
Same
things with Jod, with the resort. I do like one thing that's emerging that's kind of expected for me is that Wim and Neil are kind of trading places.
Yes.
And how Wim was so intrepid and so like eager for adventure, and Neil was so tentative and scared, and now Neil's throwing rocks at scary droids and like charging in head first, and Wim's the one crying, in the corner. So it's that's not something that I expected. I thought that Wim was gonna just sort of consistently be like wondered by this adventure, but he's kind of over it.
Yes, he is. He's done. And especially after when he got deflated from the lightsaber ignition part, that actually
really sad. That was a really sad moment. Actually,
broke my heart, because I think we've all wanted to be that person that stands up to the bully, and I think it's a natural human characteristic where we've seen people or even family members get talked down to in a certain way that like upsets you, and like you want nothing more than to defend them, and of course you try to use your words or actions against them, and it ends up biting you in the butt, which is it was so hard to watch that sweet kid, like, because in his heart he was like, I'm gonna threaten him with this, like he's gonna be freaked out by this. Boom, poof, and then it launched it. That was great.
Heartbreaking performance from Fern as well.
Oh,
like non-verbal for most of it too, of like the realization of what was happening, like how serious the danger actually was.
The fact that she held out for so long, man. Fern is my favorite of the kids.
Good for her for actually going out fighting at least.
Yeah. God, she did not want to yield, bless her heart. And that was hard to watch. And look, I agree. This could be a good point. These kids are clearly not ready. They are not prepared for what's to come. If
Jared, I hope you're right, dude. I hope you're right.
Same. And
I want that to be true.
It's hard to watch this happen because I've said it before for Kyle's audience watching. I'm a middle school teacher. I teach 4th through 8th grade, and like I know how kids respond when things get really serious, or even when we do like fire drills at school, like kids get worked up pretty easily. You know what I mean? And of course they are. It's overwhelming. Yes, yeah, exactly. Or if it's a real thing, it gets scary. Like there was like a situation like a couple of like blocks away from our campus, and like they had to like go on like a lockdown, but we were all in the gym. Everything was safe. We still had kids freaking out and crying because they didn't, that the idea of that scared them. Nothing was bad happening. It was like a domestic dispute. But the thing is, like those kind of things, instantly make a kid nervous and scared. And they had SM33 there to help him. They had Jod to help him. But when you're one person that's going to help you kind of turns on you, and then after turning on you, takes the robot too, like their escape was brilliant. That was brilliant. But I'm very scared to know where that ends up.
And now they are completely alone.
What's going on?
Because before they at least had SM33 and a ship, and they could get somewhere. Now they are really on their own in the middle of nowhere.
I am a little. Well, they can't really operate the ship without. Neil can fly it, but can they do everything they need to do to actually effectively use it, get through hyperspace and stuff without SM33, who's now Jod?
All I know is I don't see. That's the thing. SM33 is doing it because he's programmed to do that based off the pirates code, right? And I love that that's mentioned. We've always heard the pirates code in other movies, or the bounty hunters code,
more like actual guidelines.
Yes, but for unfortunately for SM33, it is a code. It's in his coding. That's
the pirates programming code. Yeah,
it's a program to him. And I was gonna actually, if y'all don't mind, to wrap this whole thing up, I wanted to pull up some of the Skeleton Crew trailer footage just to kind of see what we have coming next. I know Michael only watches. So Michael's weird. Michael only watches these trailers once and he's done. And he doesn't.
I don't do trailer breakdowns.
That's not that weird. That's not that weird. I'm similar. I'll watch the trailers a few times, but I stop at the TV spots.
Yes.
Once or a couple weeks out, I don't watch because then they start showing too much.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll watch a reveal or a teaser or an official trailer, and that's about. I'm good after that.
But the only thing we haven't gotten, for those that don't know or don't remember, is that weird planet with the trash compactor or whatever that big thing is that they're big crab thing, right?
I've heard that's stop motion. That's a Phil Tippett stop motion crab.
Yes.
I'm very excited for that.
That's going to be sick. And there's the other shot. So I seem to believe it's going to pick right back up with this episode or the parents, right? But it's this shot right after this one. It shows them on that planet. Okay, we saw that.
I think Cathallops might actually help them out in the escape.
This is the part I'm very curious about. You see the X-Wings coming in.
Yep.
And you see the Onyx Cinder right there. So
you see one of the two pirate, isn't that one of the pirate vessels taking off? It has the same striped livery. So they're leaving right as the X-Wings arrive.
Yeah, that could be Jod in SM33, but the X-Wing showing up and Jaleel White's character right there. Yeah, that's the only thing we've got left in that really weird.
He only got one line in the episode, but I'm glad he got to yell it at the top of his He's like, I will get paid on this episode.
That's right.
Good for him.
The voice of Sonic the Hedgehog. From the 90s.
Is he really?
From the 90s, yeah.
Oh, sure. Mm-hmm. I thought you meant the new one.
No, that's old boy Ben Schwartz from Arrested. No, I'm sorry, from Parks and Recreation.
Sure.
So this other thing right here we haven't gotten yet. Don't know what this is. This looks like Fern's mom talking to some people in a hologram.
I'm thinking pirates. She's wearing Baze Malbus's back armor in white.
That's right. Wow,
and a short
that's true.
Pauldron, I think.
Yes.
I don't think she's Imperial, but she's definitely using some, recommissioned equipment. So I'm thinking pirates.
Definitely. But yeah, this scene wasn't in there. So I don't know. And this also could still be the same planet. We don't know yet. Look, I mean, it could be mountainous.
Okay, well, you know what? Actually, you got at a resort world where everything's nice and shiny and good. They're throwing their trash somewhere.
Oh,
so this could be the other side of that same planet. This is what they do with all the garbage from the guests,
including the ships that are broke down and disgusting.
Well, including the ship that just got parked on by a pirate cruiser. Did you see that happen when the pirates arrived? Just fully lands on this guy's ship? Come on,
parked on top of it. Yeah. So the next episode, I think we're gonna get this whole thing, and that seems to be taking place on the same planet. What was the planet for this episode? It was
it started with an L.
Oh, Lanupa.
Yeah, that's
Lanupa. Yeah.
Lanupa. Yeah, I love that. Was one of the best beats too. Is welcome to Lanupa.
I like the subtle implication.
It goes by many names.
This is Skull Ridge Mountains, just over that pleasure facility right there. It's like an adult pleasure facility, but it's seen through the perspective of children. So we don't really see the extent of what's happening at this place, but we can imagine.
This is the only thing we've been granted, and it's the best thing we could have ever asked for.
And that's the good news.
This is the good stuff. This and this. Man, this was such a cool episode. Yeah, I'm looking
really
forward to the
enjoyed
rest of this show. The rest of this show, because now we've got to the point where like there's very little footage in the trailers, which I know we just analyzed the last little bit, but like I feel like episodes 7 and 8, much like Mandalorian seasons and Book of Boba Fett, none of us are expecting what's going to happen in those last two. And who's the supervisor is it this pirate? You know,
there's got to be a connection to the whole pirate, especially to the old pirate captain. Something about him and the supervisor are linked. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, has to be. Well, look, another good point at Akron, there was the headless statue. You had the headless hologram. Like, there's something to be said about that.
What's with these weird planets all being connected? Because like we know that at Athens,
maybe they had oil there,
but we don't know if this is like some weird like offshoot of the Republic or something that where they all secluded these planets. Or
what if it was like a Zerka Corp experiment?
Oh, that'd be great. See, I kind of want some weird stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like the episode 7 of Mandalorian season 3 where they got Lizzo and all. No, episode 6 they had Lizzo and all. Like, I want more weird like that, like a whole society ran by robots.
Yeah, Captain Bombardier. Let's get more of
yes,
more Jack Black. Turns out he reveals that his name used to be Zinj, but then he changed it.
And then his real name is Dash Zenton.
Yeah, he's Dash Zenton, exactly.
That's it. No, shout out my wife's in the chat. Everyone, thank you so much for everyone coming tonight and hanging out. I love this show. I hope you look, and as it says on our thing, I do hope we get more Fuzzball. I
still holding out. Cathallops, personally.
Yeah, I know.
I hope we get more Munes.
The way he folds his tentacles, like he's just hanging out. It's too good. Oh yeah, then what?
He's one of the boys, man.
One of the
I would
boys.
tell him funny stories.
God, all he wants to hear is a good story.
What? Can you imagine if Cathallops was like a Twitch viewer? He would be everybody's like best, just like commenting. Oh, and then what happened next? Like, best.
Someone make it.
He's just
someone make the lurker. They got to make. There's going to be a profile by tonight, Kyle. That's the whole plan.
I hope so.
This is it. No, y'all. This has been an absolute blast hanging out with y'all, talking about this. This is one of those episodes that like did a lot very quickly. And I'm very happy to have broken it down with y'all and looked at it from a couple of different perspectives, because this show really is building to something special and something I was not expecting out of it. And this has been fun. I'm liking
it's gonna get a little heavy, but it still feels refreshing to watch something that keeps it lighthearted.
It's whimsical. It's
not self-serious. Is really what is refreshing about it, I think. It's very tongue-in-cheek. Moons with towels wrapped around their heads. They know exactly what they're doing. They are in on the joke.
Look at them.
It's so reminiscent of the wholesomeness of Rebels, and I love this flavor of Star Wars. I love every flavor of Star Wars.
Campy hijinks. That's what Star Wars always needs, is some campy hijinks.
God, so nice. Michael, real quick, before we end this stream, can you get us one little plug of what you got going on your content creating world?
Well, like I said, the main thing I've got going on right now is season 3 of Ionized Bastards, which will be coming next week. Next month. My real play Star Wars tabletop RPG series. It's going to be the final season of the show. Very exciting. And let's just say, if you like droid pirates, boy howdy, you'll like Ionized Bastards.
Yeah, so here's the full show recap. Great show. I had the privilege of being on the second season. So
is this a homebrew or a Fantasy Flight game?
So we started season 1. We used Fantasy Flight, and then season 2 we switched over to Star Wars 5e, the kind of conversion of D&D.
I've been running a Fantasy Flight campaign for a while. I would
awesome.
Learn the Star Wars 5e. I haven't actually tried it before.
Yeah, it's really great. I'm really enjoying it. It translated shockingly well with the characters we made. So
nice.
And Kyle, you'd be a good guest in a couple of things that Michael has in the future. I don't know. That'd be something y'all could work out. I know you like this kind of stuff. It's good stuff. But speaking of Kyle, let's hear about your channel. And obviously, people are watching on your channel right now.
Oh, yeah. Hey, look there. We got a cool infinity shot going on. That's
beautiful. What? Oh no!
Oh, not this again, Scotty.
Oh, we're doing it.
No.
Well. I am Kyle Katarn. I'm a content creator. I have a Star Wars YouTuber. You can find me on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, but mostly Blue Sky. All over the place with the same handle. It's Kyle Katarn with a 1 for an L, because the real Kyle Katarn got the name first out there in the galaxy. He doesn't post there, so don't worry about it. I do reactions and reviews and breakdowns to Star Wars content. I do dramatic narrations of the Star Wars comics every week. I live stream every Star Wars video game that I can get my hands on. And I like to do reactions and spotlights for Star Wars fan films made by the fans, for the fans. Some of the most entertaining pieces of like storytelling that you'll ever see. And yeah, I love doing it. I love meeting people like you guys, you know, like Star Wars Celebration, getting connected. Like that's why I do this. So if you want to hang out, if you want to have another Star Wars pal to talk and nerd out about with, come find me. Easy to find.
He's one of the best. He's one of the best. We partied together one night in Anaheim. We hung out that very last night. The very last, just hung out and visited for like 3 hours, and it was so funny because the people that you're in this room with are like people you appreciate and admire. They're just floating from.
It was kind of a who's who. We were all there.
Yeah, it was kind of nice.
Twitter was in this hotel restaurant.
Yes, it was beautiful, and
I think
it's
they ran out of whiskey behind the bar that night.
I think they did. They might have ran out of a lot of alcohol. It was just, I don't know. We're very, happy to be covering the show and doing what we do. And of course, this is the Bombad Cast. If you're watching us here, we go live every Thursday. Most of our stuff, usually, if I'm going to be honest with all of you, we're usually watching videos. We kind of do some reactions here and there, but we're always looking at the weird aspects of Star Wars. Everything from, all the stuff with the Phantom Menace 25th anniversary last year. We kind of broke down all the media stuff that went with that. We've got a few things in plan in the works. Our next reaction, discussion show is about the Star Wars episode of the Hello Kitty show in the 80s, because there was a show. There was one called The Real Thing. Called that's
a brand new sentence for me.
I think it was Kitty Wars. Kitty Wars, maybe. So I have to look it up. It's excellent. But
you sent me on a rabbit hole now. This is what I'm going to do.
No, it's great, and that's what we usually do. So you can see, obviously all of our videos here. Like, we broke down 10 years since the Force Awakens trailer. One of my best videos, though, I do have to plug this for the sake of discussing. It's something I'm very proud of, and I'm sure, I don't know if Kyle's seen it, but I know Michael has. One of my best videos I've ever made came out last year, and I did a whole entire video essay breaking down midi-chlorians, and it's a 2-hour analysis. It's a 2-hour analysis on the importance of midi-chlorians. So give that a check whenever y'all get a second. Thank everyone for coming and hanging out tonight. Kyle, I know it's been like a year and a half. I know it's been a year and a half.
Way too long, man.
I know.
Thank you so much for inviting me back on the show. It's been a roller coaster. We've all been really busy.
Yeah.
But, let's do this again soon, man. It was so much fun.
I have to baptize you real quick, Kyle. I got to hear what you think about this Folgers commercial.
This is your wake-up call. Time to reach, go for it all. Folgers stirs inside of me, and I know what I can be. Limit is the sky. Hey world, watch me fly. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
What'd you think of it?
She's faking it.
Yeah. That's one of the best ones we've heard. Kyle, can you give us a good Stay Bombad to wrap up this show, buddy?
Stay Bombad.
Yeah, bye, everybody.
Did you say impossible? Pasquale? Only kidding, Chucky. I've changed my tune because I finally thought of a possible dream that we can all share.
What is it? Pasquale?
It's a dream about a world when nobody is poor or sick or hungry.
Oh, now that's a dream we can make come true.
I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good. Gonna make a difference. Gonna make it right.
As I point up